and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Liz Nkonyana. I am from AMSCO. A hearty welcome to all of you this morning. Thank you very much. All protocols observed. Today is a very auspicious day as we mark 67 days to us taking to the skies in terms of the AAD show. Of all things, we didn't think this was going to be possible at some point with the pandemic ravaging the country and the globe at large. But here we are today. I'm going to be a program director for today, and I must apologize for us starting slightly later than we anticipated. Just in terms of housekeeping, for those that need the gents, straight through the passage on your left, you would find them. Can we have our phones on silent as well? For those that definitely need to use those pesky gadgets, just put them on silent, please. I'm not to say a lot more. I'm going to call on stage to come and officially welcome us and give us an overview of why it is that we are gathered here today. I'm going to call on Ms. Nombasa Ndlovu, who is the AMD board chairperson as well as the Polcom chairperson for the AAD. Can we have a hearty round of applause as we get here on stage, please?
Acting Chief of the South African Air Force, Major General Telezi, Director, Defense Foreign Relations, Brigadier General Mabanga, Director, Corporate Affairs and Staff Services, Brigadier General Kweta, General Officer Commanding of Air Base Waterproof, Brigadier General Muswena, Generals and Flag Officers of the SANDF, Officers and Warrant Officers of the SANDF, members of the Military Attaches Advisory Corps, Executive Mayor of the City of Tshwane, Alderman Randall Williams, members of the Executive the Mayoral Committee of the City of Tshwane, representatives of the AAD participants, AMD, AMSCO, CASA and DOD, representatives of the executive teams of the AAD strategic partners, City of Tshwane, Gautrain Management Agency and South African Airways, executive teams of AAD sponsors, MALCO, CEOs and executive of the South African defense industry, colleagues from the media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, Molweni, Abshe. On behalf of the AAD partners, AMD, AMSCO, CASA and the DOD, it is my privilege and pleasure to welcome you today. It is indeed an honor to be graced by your presence. I know I speak not only on behalf of the AAD partners, but also on behalf of the entire aerospace, maritime and defense industry. This gathering signal a new dawn as we are recovering from the economic hardship that COVID-19 has thrown at the aerospace, maritime and defense industry, at South Africa and the world as a whole. Aerospace, maritime and defense environment was not immune to the realization that technology is and will continue changing the way we work and the way we interact with technology. Virtual meetings have become the norm. Unmanned aerial, sea and land platforms will become the norm for all sectors as an example. I am pleased that events such as Africa Aerospace and Defense Exhibition and the Air Show are back in South Africa. This allows us once again to bring together industry decision makers and buyers from around the world. It also allows us to unlock opportunities for growth and sustainability for our industry. With that said, I welcome you to AAD 2022-67 Countdown event. Thank you. Inkomo.
Ms. Ndlovu, for that welcome. I think we are now feeling a little bit welcomed in this meeting. I'm going to call on stage for a message of support from one of our strategic partners as the AAD, and from the city of Tshwane, the executive mayor, Mr. Alderman Randall Williams, to come grace us in actual fact, to also welcome us into his city. Mayor.
Thank you.
Can you
Program Director, Chief of the South African Air Force, Lieutenant General Wiseman Mbambo, Deputy Chief of the Air Force, Major General Buthelezi, AMD Board Chairperson, Ms. Nombasa Ndlovu, members of the Africa Aerospace and Defence Committee, all strategic partners and sponsors of Africa Aerospace and Defence, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, in case I made a mistake in addressing anyone. Good morning to you all, and welcome to the city of Tshwane. We are very thrilled to once again be associated with Africa's only exhibition and air show that showcases both aerospace and defense technologies. The world-class event comes after a 2-year absence due to COVID-19 pandemic. As the city of Tshwane, we believe that this event is a great opportunity to demonstrate to the rest of the world that we are a great host city with a lot to offer. Recently, we hosted the Aero South Africa Aviation Business-to-Business Trade Show at Wonderboom National Airport, incidentally an airport that belongs to the city. The event was a great success and further demonstrates the city's interest in the aerospace and aviation sector. Such events have a great economic impact and offer job opportunities to the residents. Honorable guests, on 18 July, the world will join South Africa as we honor the country's first democratically elected president, Nelson Mandela. It is therefore a befitting gesture for the AAD to coincide the 67 countdown days within the 67 minutes of giving back to the community by inviting 67 school kids from Bronkhorstspruit. It is very important for the young ones to know and understand the rich history that links Tshwane and Nelson Mandela. One of the main attractions in the city is the Mandela Statue at the Union Buildings. And it's always pleasing to see so many of our people visit the Union Buildings to take pictures next to the statue. With these few words, I would like to wish you all a great and a successful event. As the proud host city, we will ensure that we shower all the visitors with a spirit of Ubuntu and great hospitality. I thank you.
As a proud citizen of the city, I really do feel that as the first citizen of the city has indicated, we will definitely shower the visitors with the Ubuntu spirit that we are as South African known for. The 67 minutes as an industry, as a country, our icon, Nelson Mandela, said to us, don't celebrate my birthday, do something with their time. And that's exactly why the 67 minutes is such a phenomenon. You're giving back. And the theme for this year says, do whatever you can, wherever you are, with whatever you have. It means any little, whatever that you've got, if you share with another, it goes a long way. So that's our icon, saying to the world, do your bit. Lift as you rise. That's the kind of meaning that we wanting to share with the world. But before I call on our key speaker, I would like to ask the colonel who wants to speak, Colonel Zama, to come in here and show us a safety, give us a safety briefing. That's one of the things that we omitted to do right at the beginning. You will accept my apologies for that. Can Colonel Zama come in, please?
Mayor. Thank you very much for the opportunity in the absence of our OHS officer who's taking care of our VIP children in the hangar. We'd like to begin with the safety and protocols to be followed here at 28th Squadron and Air Force Base Waterkloof. We appreciate that this is a significant event happening here, and we as such would like to treat you all with safety while you are here, particularly as regards to movements within the hangar. In the event of a fire emergency, we kindly request that all the guests proceed calmly in a collected manner through the middle exit door of the passageway, the one immediately to your left as you come out of this door, into the hangar space, and exit towards the right, which will be towards the north of the hangar. There's an open exit bay. Our gathering point to check that everyone is accounted for will be on that flight line to the north, alongside the road that is perpendicular to that hangar. Please move quickly and safely through the hangar space, past the aircraft to the door, and away from the hangar in case the fire involves elements of the hangar. If there's a change to this plan, it will be indicated to you by several of the members of 28th Squadron who are on the hangar floor to make sure that we are proceeding in the correct way. Secondly, movements within the hangar space. The hangar is, and this is an active flying squadron, and the hangar is home to currently in use aircraft. As such, there are items to be aware of, such as movement outside the aircraft, underneath the aircraft wings. There are drip cans and propellers underneath those wings, and they pose a threat to you if you walk into them. To avoid injury, please refrain from walking directly under aircraft engines. Walk to the outer edges of the wings, and please be aware where the barricades and cones are in your movements. Sometimes our aircraft drip some oil, which we've taken care to sanitize as best as possible, but as the aircraft is still within the hangar, there may be instances of this. Please be wary of your footing and your stepping when you are in the hangar. The same goes for the hangar bridge areas where the cabling runs. They will be covered by grates. Please be aware of where the grates are and get your footing secure so that we can avoid any injury. Both hangar doors to the north and to the south are open. This will just encourage any other safety maneuvers that we do require. Follow the instruction from the safety and OHS officers that are within the hangar, and that will be for your safety as well as for our own. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colonel Zama, for that safety briefing. We now know what to do in case of emergency. Let's hope there isn't any. Thank you very much. Moving right along, I'm going to call on stage now the keynote speaker for the day. That is the Deputy Chief of the Air Force, Major General Buthelezi.
I'm not sure whether to wear the glasses or not, but I think I should. When the OC, the officer commanding of 28th Squadron, where we are sitting, Colonel Zama gave us these measures. We're all listening, but I know if anything could happen, like fire, we're not going to follow through. It also remind me when I was still active flying, preparing for a spin. There's an exercise called spin where the aircraft had to roll. Now we have to tell the instructor the process, the procedures, that you will do this and this and this, and you recover the aircraft. And in the event that the aircraft doesn't recover, then you have to shout 3 times. Eject, eject, eject. And then he must eject, or you must eject, and he will follow because he's an instructor. So I'm saying this, this will happen, this will happen. In the event that this aircraft, so you think I'll be there? Joking, I know. I would like to apologize for the absence of Secretary of Defense, Ambassador Gujo. She is actually kept in a very urgent meeting, but we apologize. We know in the process of signing this cooperation, she was one of the persons to sign, but we hope that before the end of the day, after other role players have signed, she'll be able to sign. In the absence of the officer commanding of this base, Brigadier General Tim Mukwena, I greet him. In fact, I would have liked to recognize each and every one of you, but unfortunately, due to time, because the time doesn't belong to I would have done that. I would have started by the corner there up to there, but unfortunately, there's a certain protocol that I have to follow. So, all the generals that are here, the flag officers of the South African National Defence Force, the warrant officers, and the officers present here, the members of the military attaché, adversary corps, the executive mayor of the city of Tshwane, sir, alderman, we are very happy that you are here, and we really say thank you for coming. The impact of your presence is huge. Members of the executive of the mayoral committee of the city, the representatives of the African Aerospace and Defense, known as AAD, Partnership, Aerospace, Maritime and Defense, known as AMD, AMSCO, Commercial Aviation Association of Southern Africa, CASA, the members of the Department of Defense, representatives of the executive teams of AAD, strategic partners, City of Tshwane, Hotel Management Agency and South African Airways. I will never leave you, ma'am, because executive teams of AAD sponsors, Melco, CEOs and executive representative of the South African defense industry. We normally call them captains of industry. We are recognized. Colleagues from the South African media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen, and therefore all protocol observed. It is indeed such a great pleasure to address you all this morning. Not only today, I stand before representing my commanding officer, the General Wiseman Bambo, Lieutenant General Wiseman Bambo, Chief of the South African Air Force, but more, especially because today marks the realization that indeed AAD 2022 is just around the corner. 67 days until we officially open our doors to this world. In my capacity as the Deputy Chief of the Air Force, Major General Innocent Buthelezi, I have had the opportunity to sit in many meetings at which this flagship event has been deserted, reinvented, and finally planned for. So ladies and gentlemen, when we started, there was still so much uncertainty as to whether we'll indeed be able to host the 11th edition of this AAD. The pandemic by then still lingered and at the time even seemed set on coming back with an even great impact and so we watched and waited and gathered every pronouncement made by the World Health Organization and our own Department of Health on the status of the pandemic and the impact it was having to the world's effort to return to some semblance of normality. To be honest, we're adamant even back then that another deferment or postponement of AAD was not even eventually. We were definitely not looking forward or hoping for. When the Honorable Minister of Defense and Military Veterans launched AAD 2022 on Thursday, the 5th of May this year, we knew without a doubt that it was all system goals. And I'm pleased to share this with you, that it is indeed all system goals. The organizing team behind AAD, together with the partners from AMD, AMSCO, CASA, and ourselves as the Department of Defense, have been working tirelessly behind the scenes to bring to you an AAD, as you best know it. During our planning, we soon realized that the world had changed so much since 2018, and yet even in the change, many things have thankfully remained the same. Things like the people, colleagues, and the competitors who come together with a common goal in mind. We have found out that the defense and aerospace industry remain a vital trigger for many economies around the world to grow and survive. We have found that countries and governments still need world-class capabilities, technologies, and equipment to protect and secure the sovereignty of their borders and to safeguard the precious lives of its people at all costs. Finally, we found that no country leads, no man as an island. Global problems such as the COVID-19 pandemic are solved globally, together. And AAD offers the world a platform to come together as the defense and aerospace world. In fact, I like the AAD theme when it says, exploring new paths, sharing solutions, and showcasing innovation and capabilities. That is the theme. Therefore, if any player in the aerospace and defense industries, both South Africa and abroad, has not yet booked their exhibition, their spot for September, the loss is yours. Sorry. We are ready to host all of you, and we have recognized that we need to broaden the scope of what needs to happen in order for us to secure maximum participation from industry. For the first time in the history of AAD, we have secured the express permission for the present use of the unmanned air vehicles, known as UAVs, maybe even drones, during the show. This is indeed a milestone for the AAD. Simply put it, ladies and gentlemen, we'll no longer ignore the growing wave and the momentum that is building around the use of AAVs, both in the military and commercially. It is evident that the future is upon faster than the thought. Innovation remains the driving force behind survival of business and governments. Moreover, we all all recognize that innovations come from young minds. Minds that can still dream big. That is why today is carrying so much significance for us. Yes, we have called you here today to witness the signing of agreement between AAD and its strategic partners, City of Tshwane, Gautrain, and South African Airways. These agreements each play a critical and pivotal role in the success of this AAD 2022. And so, I thank the executive teams of all these organizations in recognizing the value of an association with AAD and pledging the necessary resources to ensure the return of epic event. Because of this support, our visitors from our stores and beyond are guaranteed a world-class experience, one of efficiency, highest level of professionalism, and a truly South African spirit. Siabo. But ladies and gentlemen, we have also asked you to join us in shaping 67 young, fresh, impressionable minds to ignite a spark in the mind of a child whose future at face value may seem bleak or even predictable, to force a young man or young woman to think beyond the confines of their current, seemingly despairing environment, to open the little eye of the world so big and yet one in which they can easily see themselves in and making a contribution towards. As we mark these 67 days to go before AAD 2022, we also mark the celebration of the 13th anniversary of the National Mandela Day Initiative, which theme for the 2022 is do what you can with what you have, whenever you are. Being a man of my word, and so I live to do, I have committed to demonstrate the commitment to you of the UAVs at this AAD 2022. I hope that this demonstration allays all doubt and that it instills sufficient confidence in AAD being the ideal platform for the aerospace and defense sectors of South Africa and the world. Once again, I want to thank you all this morning for actually coming and ensuring that you celebrate with us this showcasing that the AAD is a reality. And I hope to see you again in the next 66 days. Thank you.
Can I have another round resounding? Thank you, Major General Telezi, for that speech. You got the marching orders. It's all systems go. There's no turning back. AAD is happening. The minister said so on the 15th of May. The general is confirming today, 67 days to go to the skies. You gentlemen and ladies in this hall are going to make it happen. Your partnerships, your organization are part of the team, the cogs in the wheel that's going to make sure that that event is the event of the year that we want it to be. I'm going to now move on to the signing ceremony. With our strategic partners, as the Major General has indicated, SecDev isn't available at the present moment to do the signing. We will sign on a later stage once she is available, the ambassador. But for now, we're going to move to the first signatories, which is AAD and the City of Tshwane. All eyes must citizen, Mr. Williams, as he signs his commitment for the AAD. He is indeed putting his signature to indicate that the city of Tshwane would be the whole city for the AAD 2022. A historic moment. Thank you very much. Can we give him a round of applause? All right. Then we're moving on to the SAA official airline for the AAD 2022. We are taking to the skies of SAA, ladies and gentlemen. And there she goes, putting in the $1 million signature to the agreement. Thank you very much. And we're moving on to the last signatory for the day, which is the Gauteng Management Agency. Yes, ma'am, do come through. This lady is putting the $1 million signatures to these deals. Wow. Our guests are going to be taken care of. Mighty good. Thank you very much. All right. That brings us to the end of the signing ceremony for the MOAs that underpins the AAD program or the AAD show. We've now come in actual fact to the end of the program. In the vote of thanks, I'd like to just mention all the people and just the Secretary of Defense, Ambassador Kojo, the Defense Director of Defense Foreign Relations, Brigadier General Mabanga, the Director of Corporate Staff Services, Brigadier General Kweta, the General Officer Commanding of the Air Force Base, Waterkloof, Brigadier General Mukwena, Generals and Flag Officers of the SANDF, officers and warrant officers of the SANDF, members of the Military Attaché Advisory Corps, Executive Mayor of the City of Tshwane, our whole city, Executive Mayor Alderman Randall Williams, members of the Executive of the Mayoral Committee of the City, representative of the AAD Partnership, which is AMD, AMSCO, CASA, as well as the DOD, the representatives of the executive teams of the AAD strategic partners, the City of Tshwane, the Gauteng Management Agency, the South African Airways, executive teams of the AAD sponsors, MOCO specifically, CEOs and executives representing the South African defense industry, and the colleagues from the media fraternity in South Africa. We really, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate your presence here. We hope that you will take the message that says Ubuntu is our way of doing things in South Africa. We are going to be the best hosts for all those that are coming locally and abroad for the AAD. And we say each and every one of us must do their little bit in their corner with what they have to make sure that our guests feel as welcomed and as taken care of as they can. but more so that as we move from this hall and going into the hangar to go join those impressionable minds that the General Butele has spoken about, to say to them, the sky is not even the limit anymore. And they're going to be looking at these faces around here to give them direction and show them where to and how to. We're going to have to inspire them to say, no matter what your circumstances, what your background is, isn't where your ultimate goal or your ultimate final destination is. You can outgrow whatever it is that you were born into. You can be great in any sphere of life. This is what the message that we are taking from this room to the next room. Because those young girls and boys in there are going to be looking at all these pilots. You know, pilots in their pilot suits. You look at all of these and you're like, wow, one day, I want to be like that when I grow up. So with all that, we're saying thank you for your presence. For the media, the media interviews are going to be coordinated post the walkabout in the hangar. So that, because you did hear that Major General says he's going to be demonstrating how to fly in a drone in there. So we need you to go witness that. So we're going to be going across from there, and after the walkabout, there will be a light lunch that will be served, and during that time, that's where media interaction will then be facilitated by the organizing team. With all of that, thank you very much for being such a wonderful audience. Enjoy yourself.